Hello, good morning, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of Mindful Meditations on Art Jewelry. My name is Allison Barnett, and I own Patina Gallery here in Santa Fe, New Mexico with my husband, and we've had the gallery for 21 years. In Season 2 of our Mindful Meditations, for those of you who have tuned in last season, we are doing something new. I'll be coming to you live more from Instagram so that I can share the space with the artist that we're working with. And today's artist is Daphne Krinos, who I will welcome to the program in just a minute. But I just wanted to give you some information about the story of Daphne before I join her in the conversation. So Daphne was born in Athens, Greece, and had a wonderful childhood there and learned so much from her grandfather and time spent with him. He was a Nobel Prize laureate, and he taught her at a young age how to construct things from unusual materials that they would find in Greece. He also taught her to love museums and gold and gemstones. She knew early on that she wanted to leave Greece and applied to go to art college in London. And after successful 4 years in London, she graduated and had a very successful show and degree show, and decided that she was going to open up her own studio in the early 80s. And I'm just waving at those of you who've joined the conversation. And she established her own studio with the help of the British Crafts Council. So she's made her home in her studio in East London, and for 35 years now. And with that, I'm going to welcome Daphne to the program. And I'm going to try, let's see if I can get Daphne in here in 1 second. Oh, here we go. Okay, hopefully Daphne is now going to join the conversation. Thank you for those of you who are watching. Again, we're going to be talking with Daphne Krinos today. I know this is the first time that she's done a split screen on Instagram, so hopefully this is all going to go. We're waiting for her to join now. But I'm wearing beautiful pieces by Daphne, which you can see here. She loves to work with silver and gold, and I'll tell you more before she joins. Silver and gold and very architectural pursuits. Some of her pieces, she loves to work with darkening silver and this very dark base of metal that is very architectural and inspiring to her, and also with gemstones. And I hope that she will be able to join the conversation soon so she can tell us more about what she does. It says that we're waiting for her to join, and I'm so sorry. It says she's unable to join. Let me try again to have Daphne join the conversation. Maybe it'll work this time. I think it's
Hi, Allison.
Oh, there
Hello.
you are. Hi, Daphne. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for all of you who are tuning in today.
Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome,
Really
Daphne. This is fun. I'm glad that the technicalities have been overcome, and we're here together to do this.
Good. I'm really sorry if I took ages to join, but
it's all good. Fun. I wanted to tell our viewers, we have about 10 people watching, a little bit about you first before you join the conversation. Lovely. So this is perfect now. Yeah. So you've been a maker, Daphne, for 35 years, and I want to know even longer than that. Oh my gosh. What continues to inspire you every day, especially now during COVID?
What continues to inspire me is everything I see around me. I have been spending a lot of time at home, like everybody else. I'm very lucky to have a studio at home. So I've been able to continue making and working, but I've also been walking around quite a lot and taking many pictures of the area near where I live, where there's a lot of building going on. And so I've been photographing quite a lot of structures going up and buildings being demolished, but also lots of flowers, and the spring in this country was absolutely beautiful, and the summer. So the colors have really inspired my work. And I'm just very lucky to be a maker and to be able to continue designing and creating pieces for people to wear.
So, it's so true. Yeah. I think as you know, as makers, as artists, we're used to being in isolation. So COVID isn't anything that's so different for those of us who are artists. And it gives you, as I call this, mindful meditations. It allows you to continue that time to meditate and think about what you're going to make. And so it hasn't really changed your course too much. And I know that you're inspired by architecture. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I am. I'm inspired by a lot of architecture. I've always been taking pictures of buildings, but the types of architecture I'm interested in change from time to time. The last few years, the last 3 or 4 years, I've been concentrating very much on brutalist architecture and the kind of positive and negative shapes within them. Have really informed a lot of my work. So although my previous work was a lot more open structures, it now involves quite a lot of volume. And I'm interested in the shapes and the shadows that these create. So
do you have examples? Do you have examples in the studio? It's always fun to show jewelry while we talk.
Yes, I can show you some pieces, although I have sold quite a lot of them actually, but a lot of my sculptural rings are inspired by brutalist architecture. And I've got here, I don't know if you can see, they are made of white gold and yellow gold with stones, but you can see what I mean about sort of solid shapes. They're kind of angled and designed to fit quite nicely, to sit very nicely on the finger. And although they're quite large rings, they tend to be very comfortable and very flattering. That's, I don't know if you can see that. That's another one, which is a silver and gold ring with a little diamond. You can see one worn. They sort of sit and fit around the hand quite nicely. I've been making quite a lot of brooches, again inspired by the same kind of architecture, but a lot of them are sold and worn by lovely people who
always.
So
what would you say is your favorite
progress? Recently,
what would you say is your favorite? Oh, go ahead.
I've recently been inspired by a lot of pictures of villages taken from the air, villages in the Middle East and cities from above. So these kind of works here are sort of reminiscent of these kind of landscapes. Cityscapes from above, as well
fabulous.
as necklace I'm wearing, which is all inspired by this kind of work, these kind of sort of urban landscapes. So yes, I am.
But the aerial.
But I really like pictures from above, yes, and so it's sort of developing work. It's work that's always evolving, because I don't like staying in one place. I just like to move on and do something new. So.
But you have said that there is a constant. I mean, your work is recognizable, but it's different. But there is a constant thread, I would say, that runs through your pieces, so that a trained person knows that it's your work.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Very much so. And I want it to be like that. I've never been. I'm quite a restless person. I don't like staying in one place, and so I'm always playing with new ideas and always thinking of how the pieces are going to look on the body as well. It's
I love that.
Very, very important.
I always think of jewelry and brooches. They're small scale sculpture, but you as a maker, as a jewelry designer, have the added consideration for how it will feel on the body, the weight of it. And I know sometimes weight can be of a big concern. You know, when you're making a piece of jewelry, because you want to add to it, you want to add stones, and you want to create this architectural sensibility. So to do it without too much weight, but enough weight that it has substance. You can speak of that.
With earrings,
and I know,
it's always it's important
especially with
not to make
earrings.
it too heavy. I
Yes.
don't like feeling a lot of weight on my ears, so I'm
No.
always really, really careful.
Yeah.
Having said that, I have made some sort of opulent party earrings, as I call them, which are a little bit heavier, but you know, they're for
Yes.
special
I
occasions.
mean, I'm wearing a great pair with the overlapping geometrics, the gold and the oxidized
That's right.
silver, which I
Yes.
love.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
weight,
Those are really
you know, I'm
flattering.
not even very
They're
flattering on, very
and
flattering on.
terribly
When
light.
you, they're very light. When you begin, Daphne, you say you build a prototype. You really prefer to work dimensionally in a prototype rather than a drawing.
I do. I like to choose the materials I'm going to work with, and then I actually like to directly design by using these materials, which is not always great because with gold you have to be very careful because it's so expensive at the moment. But
Yes.
for me, it's really, really important to play with pieces of metal. So I do make mock-ups, which sometimes involve little bits of wire, little bits of paper. That's how I come to a conclusion about a design. That's how it begins to develop. I very, very rarely do sketches or complete drawings, only when my clients require that. But I find it difficult because drawings are two-dimensional and jewelry is three-dimensional. So it's important to me to play with the material itself, and that's how I was trained when I was at college. I was really encouraged to make models, and that's been with me ever since.
Yeah,
So,
well, it makes sense. It's quite smart to do it that way. And I know that there's always the balance of, if you're going to introduce a gemstone, that you know, you have the balance of the gemstone with the metal, and their language, their vocabulary, and how they will sit and live together in a space. And I love the way you do that. I love the way you choose to set things in this darkened metal, because it's so graphic. It's like a pencil line, a dark pencil line.
Yes, indeed, exactly. And I think because my working directly on metal, as I said before, has become the way I develop something. The sort of black metal has replaced the actual drawing as such.
Yes.
It's not sort of, so a lot of my jewelry looks like drawn lines, including the
Yes, I love
stones
that.
I use, and particularly the pair of earrings you're holding. The top stone is a tourmaline quartz, which again is
Yes.
a rock crystal with black tourmaline deposits in it. This is a stone that I use a lot in my work because again, it's a bit like a sketch, a bit like a drawing.
Yes.
I'll show you these pieces here, which again are made using this tourmaline quartz, which has become quite I really love working with this material, whether it's cut like a cabochon or completely flat. It's become, you know, you see it again and again in my work. And here I've got two pairs of earrings with druzy and again tourmaline quartz and fire opals and citrines. So they're very sort of black and white, but I've
Yes, I
used
love that.
tiny accent of color, which livens them up and makes them noticeable. So yeah, I really love using that. It's part of my language now.
I love that. I remember years ago we had a necklace. I think you called it the framed necklace, and I know you've spoken about your desire when you're setting stones, sometimes a bead, to set the bead in a non-traditional manner. And I was always intrigued as a metalsmith. I never could quite understand how you held that bead suspended in the frame. And I don't know if you have any pieces in the studio that speak to what I'm talking about, but you had the stone, like a sort of a trapezoid of say,
That's right.
aquamarine. And then it
Yeah,
was
no,
sitting in a frame. Just
I
brilliant.
I don't have one of those anymore. I'm making one, but it's just that I've always liked beads, and I bought really beautiful beads when I used to go to Inorgenta in Munich, made out of aquamarines and beryls, and I loved seeing them all strung next to each other, but I was more interested in finding different ways of holding them and separating them. And so again, in a similar way to what you were saying before about my black lines around something, I kind of framed them and held them not next to each other, but added a bit of metal around them. And I've often done that. The only example I've got here is a cage necklace, which is a sort of more three-dimensional way of holding a bead. The beads are sort of trapped inside a sort of three-dimensional cage, and the necklace is sort of designed to enhance the beads because every cage is moving. The beads are very angular in the way they've been cut. So
amazing.
When you're wearing it, it moves and it kind of becomes alive. And
well, you know, and I know that there are technical challenges in completing a design like that. And
yes, I mean it's it's not that. I mean it's time consuming to construct each cage because it's all done by hand. I make everything by hand. I insist on not having pieces cast, and each cage is designed around, you know, to fit the size of the actual bead. So it's a very lengthy process, and then they have to be laser welded because you can't use heat very near a stone because it would break. But you know, they're fun, and they work. They show the stone, which is what I wanted to do.
It does.
Yeah. Okay.
I love the tension. I love the space, and I love the tension between the metal and the stone. You know, the juxtaposition, but it's that space that you allow. It's sort of the quiet between the color and the dark, but then that tension, and it's always that element of surprise. And I love that. And I know that you spend a great deal of time, as you say, you're photographing. You know, these ideas are coming to mind. I mean, you really invest a lot of time and energy, you know, in what will be the final piece.
Yes, I do. Although I tend to be quite spontaneous sometimes, and it's occasionally I will make something really, you know, design will be resolved really quite quickly, but most of the time it's that I've got so many ideas in my head that sometimes it takes a while for something to come through.
Yeah.
I think of many pieces. I sometimes, when I go to bed, I just sort of see jewelry in front of me.
Yes.
And I sort of think, oh, yes, I must make a pair of earrings like this. And then I just think of, you know, a photograph that I took earlier on. And I think, oh, yes, I should combine this. There's stones, there's buildings, there's pictures, there's what I've got around me, you know, life, everything. So I'm sort of brimming with ideas.
It's wonderful.
And it doesn't feel, you know, it does when I get frustrated when it takes me a long time to complete one piece. That's what I'm trying to say.
What is that time process? I mean, from the shortest to the longest, when you're being spontaneous, how quick is that, or how long can it take?
I have been known to make a piece in one day. Quite easily, and I have been known mostly to take about a month or more to complete something. So, well, you know, my bigger necklaces take a long time to do.
But, well, I know in 2017 you won a design competition at the Goldsmiths Company.
Yes, that was a large piece which I had to make out of 18 karat white gold, which had lots of baguette and carré diamonds. And it was based on photographs of cities at night. I live very near the City of London, and I often drive through it, and I'm always amazed that the lights are on at night, even when nobody's there. But I always thought of diamonds when I looked at these lights, and I wanted to, it was a great opportunity for me to actually use diamonds, because I can't afford to buy so many and put them on a piece normally. But it was a fantastic project, but it took me about 4 to 5 months to make, because
oh my gosh,
every single component was made by me. It was hollow shapes and flat shapes, and all the settings were made by me. And it was very, very lengthy. I learned an awful lot doing it.
That piece, and you called it City Lights. Does that now live in the modern jewelry collection of the Goldsmiths?
Yes, it belongs to the collection of the Goldsmiths Company. So I think
if anyone chooses to
worn.
see it.
Yes, I think it's worn by members of the Goldsmiths Company during dinner or on special occasions.
How extraordinary!
So, yes, but I've never actually. I haven't seen it since at all. So,
but that was the longest. That was the longest amount of time that you ever invested in making a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
Yes.
It was also scary because it had to be 18-karat white gold, and it was plated completely black with ruthenium. So ruthenium plating is not something I do myself, but it can be hit or miss. It's not that easy to achieve. So
yes,
it was slightly terrifying. And then I sort of, there were some shapes which were slightly open, and I polished the edges of those, because I wanted the reflections to happen. So it was interesting. But that I worked with a company who did the plating for me.
Because I know that you've said it's hard to relinquish. You know, as a maker, you want to be in control of what you're doing, and you have maybe one person helping you in your studio once a week, but you know, you're really hands-on from beginning to end. So to let someone assist you, you know, there's a lot of letting go and
it's a bit scary.
Letting God.
Yeah,
it was scary. But
it
proved to be successful.
Yeah, it was good. But I do like to make everything by myself. It's actually, I enjoy the actual making process, even though I don't use very modern tools or anything sophisticated. I use very old techniques. My blowtorch is ancient. I don't buy a lot of new tools, but I think you can make quite a lot of amazing jewelry without any new technology. After all, when you think how, you know, ancient civilizations used to make the most exquisite work.
Yes.
You know, I often think, well, you know, do I really need to buy the latest set of pliers or the latest gimmicky, way to hold my work? I sort of use my hands. They're still working. And
they're still working.
I enjoy it.
It's wonderful. Well, I read somewhere that you are a pyro, you enjoy fire. So I think the choice of making jewelry and having this little tiny, you know, torch next to you and controlling the heat, I think there's something to be said for that. So what's your favorite type of your piece of, do you like to make brooches?
I love making brooches. I think a lot of jewelers, I think I share that in common with a lot of jewelers. I love a brooch because the brooch is a little bit like a canvas. It's a little bit like a piece of art. It's going to be worn against the body on cloth. It's not going to hang from the ear, so you don't have to worry about what's going to happen behind it and how it's going to move. It's not going to have a finger or skin behind it or anything like that. And it's going to be one. It's not going to be a pair.
Right.
So it's often a sort of starting point for me, and I really, really love making brooches. And I was, you know, I often come across people who sort of look at my work and say, I love this, but I'm not a brooch person.
Yes.
You know, that's very, very, it happens with a lot of people, but both, you know, me and all my contemporaries I know, we all enjoy making brooches. We all enjoy exchanging brooches with each other.
No, that's nice.
And a brooch is often the starting point for a piece of work. So
yes, a whole collection, sure.
Yeah. So I've got some examples here. Actually, it's a pair of earrings, 2 brooches. I don't know if you can see
fabulous.
them. This is one. This is the sort of slightly older work when I made these sort of more open structures with a very nice beryl, and that's my latest one, which is made out of different panels of gold with a tourmaline. So, you know, that reflects light in a very nice way. It works on the body really beautifully. So, yeah, no, I do love making brooches, and I love owning a lot of brooches by other jewelers. So I've got a very good collection of
I bet you do. I bet you do. So the necklace that I'm wearing, it was hard for me to see in the image that you just picked up, but it looked like it had overlapping elements, much like the necklace that I'm wearing, which I love this piece. Can you tell us about the piece that I'm wearing?
Yes, these sort of articulated pieces and the brooch you just saw is again a recurring element in my work, in that I often like using sheet metal, and I love the juxtaposition of you know, laying one piece on top of each other with a sort of slight angle, slight variation on the angle. And the articulated necklaces, I wanted to make something that's very, very comfortable, that you could wear all day long, and you could wear with anything. So
very successful.
It's a very, very simple idea, and it's very simply linked at the back. But
yes, it is.
The fact that the sheets are not totally regular, and they sort of sit slightly above each other is often what interests me in my work. So yes, sheet has been something that I've been using a lot, and the articulated necklaces, yes, I keep going back to them because they are so easy to wear and so versatile, and
I love the hidden.
And
I love the hidden connection, that you don't see the connection, that it's hidden behind, but it's so comfortable, and it really drapes, you know, for geometric elements, it really drapes beautifully on the neck, and it's realized all the way behind.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that.
And that's a rectangular one, which also, they also work really well, but sort of 3 elements of gold, and the silver is oxidized, and then the oxidization is rubbed off. So it's kind of scratched off. So it creates slight shading. It's again a little bit like a drawn shape. Although it's made out of flat panels, it looks much more 3-dimensional.
And I love that the 3 gold elements are sitting on top of the pieces, and the others are stacked.
That's right. But they work on the body. They're just completely. I mean, I call them wear with anything necklaces, because they really, you could dress them up or dress them down, and you can.
They're
very,
so are you working these days more with silver because of the price of gold? Has it become more prohibitive to work in?
Yes, I think very much so. But silver's always been a part of my life,
Yes,
black silver to say the least. Yes,
yes,
gold is much more expensive, but then I recycle a lot of my gold. So
good.
and it's very, very wonderful to recycle gold. It's lovely, the process of actually melting
Mm.
pieces and creating, especially green gold, which is what I use a lot in my work, is actually really quite easy to alloy. And so a lot of my jewelry for years now has been made out of older pieces, either my old pieces or old bits of jewelry that people give me, where I chop them up and melt them and create sheet or wire.
Oh my gosh.
Which is and that's the beauty of gold. It actually,
Mm.
it kind of behaves. It melts beautifully. It rolls beautifully if you know how to do it. But
If you know how to do it. So when
yes, I
you're
mean
recycling,
yeah.
you're doing it yourself.
Yeah, I am. But I do it in small quantities. So it's possible to do it with my small torch, and it's never been a
In a
problem.
crucible.
Yeah.
Yeah. How does it feel? How does it feel to take a piece that you made with such love and intention and to cut it apart and reimagine? It's like a phoenix rising, I guess.
I always think that making something new out of something older is a lovely idea. So I don't feel particularly
Wonderful.
precious if it's something I made and it's old and I've moved on and I've made something different. I don't feel very precious about it as long as I've got a photo of it. So
Oh,
I'm quite happy to chop pieces up and transform them into something new.
yeah.
It's
Well,
it.
I know this is true. You know, you, as you said, you like to move forward and obviously not look back too much in your process
Mm,
of making. You've always been so innovative. I mean, you've been with the gallery, I think, since 2009. So in that course of
God,
11 years,
isn't
I've seen
that
a
long?
variety of. I thought it was longer. I thought it was longer. I feel like I've always known you. I feel like I've
Oh,
always known you, and it's always been a delight. But you know, Daphne, looking at what you've got in that studio, I can see that Patina needs some of those new pieces.
Patina will be getting lots of my pieces.
Oh,
I
very
would love
good.
to send you some because Patina is my favorite gallery. So
Oh,
I know I really mean it, and I
thank you.
so enjoyed my time when I came to meet you all when I had my
It was so
exhibition in
special.
2015.
It was
It
so
was just
special.
wonderful. It was very, very special. It was extremely special to come to Santa Fe.
Mm,
Um, where you live, the light there reminds me so
mm.
much of where I come from, and
Yes,
I suddenly felt at home, and it was
yes.
it was it was magical for
Mm.
me, and
This is a very magical place.
I so
Yes.
enjoyed coming there. So my relationship with Patina Galleries is yeah, you are my favorite gallery, really.
Oh, Daphne, that's heartwarming. Thank you so much. Well, you know, I love, we'll end our program soon. And, you know, one of the things I just want to say that I love about you, I mean, I love your spirit. I love your crazy hair. And I love the joy
Crazy
that you
hair.
bring to the making process. I love the contrast as I was saying before you joined the conversation, growing up in Greece. And you know, I've not been to Greece, but I've seen pictures and how beautiful and magical a place with the light and the soft
Mm,
architecture. And I know
mm,
that you strive to bring an element of that beauty and
yeah.
softness, even to the
Mm,
to the. I don't want to say hardness of your work because I don't see your work as hard, but it's architectural. There's a lot of graphic straight lines. But as
yeah.
you said, you know, you bring the Greek part in your choice of color, blue,
Certainly,
and choice
certainly in
of
my
gold.
gold work. Yeah,
Yes,
and I mean that's in a way why I still really love working in gold because for me it's the color of summer and
yes,
sort of wheat fields and
yes.
I love combining it with aquamarines and
Yeah.
tourmalines, because again, it makes me think of the sea and the way the sun shines on the sea, and it's where I come from. It's part of me, and it's never going to leave me. And I feel very lucky
Good.
that I kind of belong to these two places, which are very, very different.
Yes.
And
yes.
I mean, the UK is my home, really, but Greece is in there, and
No question.
And I think it has really enriched my designing life. I don't know how to describe it, but
no,
it has.
you've done a beautiful job. You've done a beautiful job, and it's been a joy to share this time with you and the viewers, and we will share this on other, on our website and probably on Facebook as well, so others can tune in who've missed our live interview. But you are a total delight, and you bring the light. You bring the light to your work.
I'm very honored to be part of your wonderful sessions, which
thank you, Daphne.
I've been watching and loving.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh my God. And to all of you who joined our conversation today, thank you. I really appreciate your joining us, and we'll be doing another meditation. And thank you, Claire. We'll be doing another presentation in 2 weeks. We'll be talking about contemporary estate works in 2 weeks. So join us live then. We'll see how that will unfold. Yeah. And but Daphne, you've been a total delight. I can't wait to I miss you. It was great to see you last year, and I hope our paths will cross soon again. And I look forward to getting some of those new pieces.
Well, let's hope. Yeah, you will.
Okay.
On their way.
Thank you all for watching, tuning in. Much love to you, Daphne.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.